Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com. Not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro.
Patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator.
Introducing Bark in the Belly Premium Dog Food. 100% of profits go to help dogs in need.
Over 30% of adults struggle with chronic foot and joint pain, and many face mobility limitations as they age. But a revolutionary Comfort First slipper has taken the wellness world by storm. Try Cloud Slides and feel you are walking on the clouds. Cloud Slides.
Hello, welcome on in. Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stewart here on 365 Sports. We are live on YouTube as we are every Monday, every Wednesday, every Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and then available wherever you get your podcast as well. And by the way, it doesn't just stop at Monday, Wednesday, Friday, folks. We have got segments going out on the YouTube channel all week. So if you're new here, check us out. Like, subscribe, helps out the channel a ton. We're talking nothing but Boston sports, baby, and the interests of Boston sports as we'll talk some Olympic hockey today because I'm so freaking into it. But that's later on. That's later on in the show. It is your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio, the only show in this market that is truly by the fan, for the fan. The only BS here is Boston sports. You like that? I kind of like that. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke is behind the glass. He's keeping us on the air as he does all the time. Our fearless leader back there, making sure everything stays up and upright and all that. Today, we are talking about the recent comments made by Sam Kennedy. We're going to talk about and how he's once again just insulting the Red Sox fan base, insulting your intelligence. And it all comes down to the Alex Bregman deal. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about who the Patriots' top target in free agency might be. And I do put emphasis on target because this is a guy who can drastically help Drake Maye's career and his efforts to get back to the Super Bowl. And, of course, we've got a huge Boston flavor in this, whether it's guys from Massachusetts, guys who played their college hockey in Boston. We are all locked in to this USA Olympic hockey run. It is on to the knockout rounds this week. I want to talk about just kind of the responsibility these guys are taking and what it means to the sport and to this country if they actually go out and get that first gold medal since 1980. All that and more coming up on this episode of the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stewart. But we start where we start, and it's the topic that arguably gets me the most combustible, and it is the Red Sox and their offseason and their relationship with the fans and how that's deteriorated. And this weekend it had to do once again with Alex Bregman and the Red Sox CEO and president, Sam Kennedy. They've done it. The Red Sox have embarrassed themselves again. They've embarrassed themselves around Alex Bregman again. They've insulted their fans yet again. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, I'm getting pretty sick of it. But the scene in Fort Myers yesterday was Sam Kennedy talking about the potential of bringing Alex Bregman back because, of course, that is the talk of this offseason. How did you not get this done? And what does that mean to this team? Now, I'm going to play two answers from Sam Kennedy here. It's the second one that we're going to be really focusing on, but I want to include the first one because I think it shows you exactly how the Red Sox operate, how front-facing they can be, and how they will laugh 1 minute and then stab you in the back the next. Here it is from Sam Kennedy. They're asking about not re-signing Bregman.
Yeah, we so grateful to Alex Bregman and what he meant to us. But look, in the end, when you have choices the way he did, you work really hard to be in a position to become a free agent and to perform at that level. He chose a different path, and we wish him well. And looking forward to seeing him at the end of the season at Fenway.
The no trade clause thing, is that organizational policy that you don't give out?
No trade clause.
No, look, if Alex Bregman wanted to be here, ultimately he'd be here.
Don't you just love that? Like, oh, we wish him the best, and we can't wait to see him at Fenway at the end of September. And then, well, if he wanted to be here, he'd be here. Because what this is, once again, and this really fired up Red Sox fans, it's going to fire me up too, because once again, it is the Red Sox saying, ultimately, it's not our fault. He just didn't want to play for us. Which, again, is bullshit. Okay? Alex Bregman probably did really want to play here. But what the Red Sox need to understand is that is not what gets a deal done. It's bizarre that they don't understand this. It is professional sports. And they don't understand that it's about the money and the contract and the security. Because they continue to think, and this has been happening for years now, but it's been definitely at the forefront the last couple of seasons, where they say, well, why wouldn't you want to play for the Red Sox? Look at all the history we have. What a great place to live. Great fan base. Historic ballpark. Why would you not want to play for us? Someone's going to offer him more money. Like, are we serious? Are we children here? Why are we still surprised by this as the Boston Red Sox? Alex Bregman did want to play here. He just wasn't going to take a hometown discount. And that's why he's suiting up for the Chicago Cubs right now. That's why he's in the Cubs uniform. And by the way, like, what idiots to go into this negotiation being like, yeah, well, why wouldn't he want to play here? We're the Boston freaking Red Sox. When you know the teams you were going up against for him last year were the Cubs and the Tigers. And honestly, the Yankees could have gotten in on this. But like, look at the Tigers, man. That's a playoff team. That's a good sports town. It's just as cold. You know, it's not as nice a city as Boston, sure. But like, they can offer him money. Or how about the Cubs, dude? Like, you really think that you were going to sell Alex Bregman on the Red Sox to take a discount because his wife likes it here and you play in a historic ballpark and you've got a great fan base? The Cubs have all of those things, man. Chicago's a great town. It's an awesome baseball town. It's got a beautiful old ballpark. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, Wrigley Field. And they're going to offer up some more money. And they're in the same spot as you. Like, what do you have that the Cubs don't have? Ranger Suarez? Like, the Cubs are a good team, too. They just made the postseason. They were better than you for most of the year. They've got a good young core that could that could benefit from having Alex Bregman on the team, much like you could have. But you decided to play this game of, oh, well, look at our green monster. Why wouldn't you want to play here? And you lost again. You lose all the time. And with the Red Sox, it's not about getting the player. It's about winning a deal, literally no matter how that looks. Because in recent times, it has meant losing guys, right? You wanted to be flexible rather than good. It started with Mookie Betts. You wanted to have that financial flexibility. You didn't want to go over the luxury tax. So you dealt away a homegrown Hall of Famer. Okay? And the last couple of years, specifically, let's look at the last, 8-9 months here. You have cared more about the deal than the player, the flexibility than the player. That's why you traded Rafael Devers for nothing. Nothing, man. What you've netted out of that is a non-prospect from the White Sox and Caleb Durbin and Dustin May, who's no longer on the team and didn't even make your playoff roster. But hey, you got that financial flexibility. You've got all this money that you don't have to spend on Rafael Devers anymore. Maybe you could spend it on Alex Bregman because clearly that's a player you like, but you like the deal more. You like not spending more than you like having Alex Bregman on the team. And that is why he's a Chicago Cub. So back to these comments from Sam Kennedy, that's embarrassing. And once again, this theme keeps popping up with my team. They're insulting their fan base. They're insulting our intelligence. They think we're going to believe that crap. They think we're going to sit there and boo Alex Bregman next year because he could have been here. He just didn't want to be. We're not stupid. Sam, we're not stupid. You can't just feed us that line. But for years now, the ownership and executives for this team have thought that their fan base is stupid. You know, they're going to continue to charge the highest prices for tickets in all of baseball and think that people are just going to come out around here because it's a historic ballpark and the weather's nice. Even though they don't give half a shit about the team they're putting on the field. That's insulting your intelligence. You know, what was it, a year or two ago when they said in the offseason we're going all in and then didn't at all by any stretch of the imagination? I think that's when they got Michael Wacha and then said, well, we didn't really mean all in. Like, that's insulting your intelligence. Trading away your franchise player for pennies on the dollar, minor leaguers who aren't even part of the team anymore. None of them except for Jose Bayo. Trading your franchise player for that and just saying, well, we're going to spend it in the offseason, and then letting Alex Bregman walk too, that is insulting to your fan base. They think you're stupid and that you will just blindly root for them and support them and give them all your money. And again, I say, we're the suckers. I'm still going to watch them. They're my team, and they're preying on that. They're preying on the fact that this is your team, and it was your dad's team, and your grandfather's team, and his father's team. You know, I'm a fourth, fifth generation Red Sox fan here. I'm the sucker. Oh, I won't go to games as much, but damned if I'm not going to be paying 30 freaking bucks a month to watch this team on television in 2026, because they just continue to do this. They continue to insult your intelligence. And this yesterday just really got me pissed off, because they actually teed it up for him. The reporter who asked, they said, is that an organizational thing that you don't do no trade clauses? He could have said, yes, we don't like that. It's not the answer, right? It's not the answer that's going to soothe everyone's mind, but at least they're being honest and saying, we don't want to commit to a guy at this age range, you know, with this kind of no trade clause. That's not a commitment we're willing to go to. And some guys did not have a no trade clause. From what I could find, Kyle Schwarber and Kyle Tucker don't. They were two big names in this offseason. But a lot of guys do have a no trade clause. A lot of the elite players, including another guy you missed out on in this offseason, and that is Pete Alonso. And I know some people are going to talk about how there are certain numbers for Bregman that are declining, and he's missed some time with basically a couple of times in the last 2 years with the same injury. You could talk about that all day long, but let's be honest. The guy does not have this lengthy injury history. In fact, he pretty much had none before his final year in Houston. And when he's on the field, he is still an all-star caliber player at the plate and a Gold Glove kind of player in the field. And you fumbled it. And now you're lying about it. Because again, all we've heard from this is that the Red Sox really weren't negotiating with Bregman. They set a number that Bregman's people told them was too low, and the Red Sox bet on the market, and they lost. And in the last hour, they decided, hey, maybe we can be a little flexible here, and it was too late. It was too late at that point. They had months at that point. But it allows the Red Sox to say, oh, well, they took the rug out from underneath us. They gave us the offer at the 11th hour and didn't give us a chance. No, they did. They gave you months. They gave you months to do that. You could have been negotiating during the season. Obviously, you weren't going to, he wasn't going to opt in during the season or anything. But you had all kinds of time. You tried to get him to take a discount. Doesn't work, man. It doesn't work. Alex Bregman is not sitting in his apartment every night watching 4 Days in October and saying, boy, golly, how can I play anywhere else? And I'll tell you, the most frustrating part about all of this, the most frustrating part, is that the Red Sox are pretty good. They're a pretty good team this year. They've got one of the best rotations in baseball. They've got huge holes in their lineup that they could have fixed, in part by re-signing Alex Bregman, and decided to go for a deal instead. But boy, man, that money under the luxury tax is going to hit 30 homers this year. That money is going to be scary in the middle of that order. Last time I checked, a stack of $100 bills cannot hit a curveball. It can't run the bases. It can't win you friggin' baseball games unless you use it. And that's, to get back to my point here, the part that really sucks is they do have a good team. But it's not good enough to win the World Series. This team, the way they're constructed right now, is pretty good. They should make the playoffs, although this is going to be a gauntlet of a division again, because the Orioles got better, and I don't know that you did. But they're a 90-win team. If they were a 96, 97 win team, 98 win team, we're talking about a World Series. But we're not. We're talking about a team that's content to go to the wild card round and bow out. That was their goal last year, was to make the playoffs. They did, and they didn't make the team any better. In fact, they made it worse from the roster they had to start opening day in 2025. I firmly believe that. Adding Suarez is great. Adding Sonny Gray, I think, can be good. It's a gamble. Contreras, nice move. But last year you had Devers and Bregman in that lineup. And your problem in the postseason was that nobody was afraid to pitch to the middle of your order, and you got worse there. And so this should be a championship window we're talking about right now, but it's not. It's not. This team can't win the World Series. And when you're that good on paper that you're talking about one or two moves to get you to win the World Series, most serious teams are serious about that. The Red Sox aren't. They're good enough to be good and to capture your attention in the summer. They're good enough to get you down to your local pub during a wild card series. But they're not good enough to make the ALCS or to make the World Series. They're just not, as they're constructed right now. And that is ultimately the most frustrating thing as a fan. When you've got a team whose ownership just doesn't get it, and you're so close to it, and you know you're not going to get over that hump because you've got ownership that doesn't get it. Doesn't get it. And this is an all-time fumble. While Alex Bregman had a market, he didn't have that big a market. You lowballed him enough that another team went in and got him. This is a guy who was great in your clubhouse, who fits the exact need that you have right now, is Alex Cora's favorite player maybe ever. And you fumbled all of it. His wife is going to take classes at Northwestern or the University of Chicago instead of staying here. You fumbled it, and now you're lying about it. And I want to tap into another quote that came from the Red Sox. I'll call it the executive team. Tom Werner, he's an owner of the team. But he was asked about Rafael Devers. And I just wanted to read this quote. Tyler Milliken was the one who put it out there. But Tom Werner said this: "I don't like to speak ill of any player. I'd like to say that he's a wonderful person. But of course, when we had an injury at first base, Tristan Casas, his unwillingness to play that position was extremely discouraging. It was a discouraging episode. Just pick up a glove." That's what the Red Sox owner had to say about Rafael Devers. And honestly, kudos to him. Kudos to Tom Werner for saying that. Is that going to jeopardize potentially getting a free agent in the future? Maybe. They'll say, "Oh, look what the ownership said about their player, star player." Some guys might get turned off by that. But what the Red Sox are doing right now is already going to turn guys off to that. Right? Like, you've got an executive lying about Alex Bregman and making him out to be the bad guy in front of this fan base, when in reality, they lowballed him like they lowball everybody else. Every other free agent on the open market, they lowball him. So what Tom Werner said about Rafael Devers, that's not going to discourage a free agent any more than the strategy they're already applying. And you know what? He's not a big baseball guy. He's a TV guy, Tom Werner, but I'm glad he just told the truth. He just said how he was really feeling. Because Sam Kennedy's a puppet. And John Henry's the crypt keeper. Doesn't talk to anybody. And Tom Werner's the "let's go Red Sox." But at least he's telling the friggin' truth. He's sitting there saying, "Yeah, it pissed me off. We're paying these guys handsomely. And we think we all have a common goal here to win something." Rafael Devers didn't, because he didn't do what was necessary to help the team. I'd rather hear that than this BS about Alex Bregman. "Oh, he'd be here if he wanted to be here." Like, shut up, man. You didn't make a competitive enough offer for him to be here. Okay? This isn't the Sandlot. This is Major League Baseball. And so I'm sick and tired of the Red Sox, their ownership, their front office, just spitting in the faces of their own fans time and time and time again. They don't care about winning as much as you care about winning, as much as I care about winning. And yeah, they don't care as much about winning as the players on the field care about winning, or their manager. They don't care enough. But boy, do they love a narrative. Boy, do they love to make the other guy out to be the bad guy. It sucks. It sucks. I still hate how they are running this franchise. And again, it's really too bad because the last regime, Chaim Bloom's regime, really restocked this farm system to the point where if the Red Sox would just spend money like a serious big market team, they could absolutely be a World Series contender. Absolutely. No doubt in my mind. This might be a little much, but if you re-signed Alex Bregman and got Pete Alonso in here, you're talking about maybe the favorites in the American League. Alex Bregman on top of Wilson Contreras. It's better than what you've got right now. Because right now, your third baseman's Caleb Durbin. Your second baseman is Marcelo Meyer. And I saw someone on Twitter, I wish I could have remembered who it was, saying, you got the worst production out of any team at second base last year. But if you have Marcelo Meyer and Romy Gonzalez platooning there this year, you're way, way better. Are you? Are you? Because that's what you did have last year. Oh, well, Marcelo got hurt. Yeah, Marcelo gets hurt every year. He can't play 100 games. We've seen that in professional baseball. And Romy Gonzalez is a singles hitter and probably had his best year in the major leagues, full stop, last year. So no, you're not any better at that position as it stands right now. And overall as a lineup, you're worse than where you were at this point last year and at the end of the season last year. But let me know what you think. Rant over. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We come at you every weekday on YouTube. We're live 3 days a week, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. It is your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio. It's right here on the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stewart on 365 Sports. We're going to take a very quick break, like 2 minutes, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about the potential big fish that the Patriots are targeting as their number one free agent in this cycle. Kyle Pitts to New England? Yeah, baby. That's coming up next on the Wicked Boston Show.
Blackmore Bar and Kitchen, located in Charlestown, is the perfect spot for a bite and drink before a Bruins or Celtics game at TD Garden. Blackmore Bar and Kitchen offers 34 rotating beers, craft cocktails, and an eclectic menu of tavern favorites like burgers, sandwiches, and flatbreads. Join us for brunch every Saturday and Sunday, plus pre- and post-game garden events. Blackmore Bar and Kitchen. Check us out at blackmorebar.com.
It's hard to find supplements that work. No, thank you. Plant-based supplements made from the Earth's most powerful plants for your immune health, gut health, workouts, and more. Find out more at auraorganic.com.
BadCreditLoans.com is a pioneering service provider that has carved a reputation in the financial industry. Simple, fast, and reliable loan application process. And its commitment to responsible borrowing makes it a trusted partner in the journey towards financial stability.
A house is a property, but we live in homes. Home sweet home. Homes where the heart is. We aim to deliver the best home buying and selling experience so you can spend less time real estating and more time living.
With Ease US, make studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US. Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com.
Back here on the Wicked Boston Show, 365 Sports coming at you. We're live on YouTube as we are 3 days a week. We got stuff going out on the channel all 5 days of the work week. It is your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio, the only show in this market that is actually by the fans and for the fans. And I'll tell you, man, before we get into the Patriot stuff, and that's coming in a minute, I know that's why a lot of you are here, but I'm also a big fan of the movies. Watched quite a few movies this weekend while my lovely fiance was away. Yeah, away on Valentine's Day, but that's because she was buying a wedding dress. So I missed her. Watched a lot of movies, though. And sad news, man. Robert Duvall, dead. 95 years old. 95 years old. Man, I mean, what an actor. I don't want to go full eulogy here, but I don't know if you've heard of this. The Godfather, good movie. Very good movie. Godfather 2, also pretty good. Robert Duvall, man, hell of an actor. I actually really liked him in The Twilight Zone. I think he's in 2 episodes. But the one that is the famous one is the one with the mannequin at the museum that he falls in love with. Great episode of one of my favorite shows of all time. Robert Duvall, man, R.I.P. I loved having a good Irish guy in The Godfather, and that was obviously Robert Duvall, Tom Hagen. Fantastic. Also we're talking about baseball. He's in The Natural, right? He's the kind of the sports writer that uncovers it all in The Natural. He works with the bomber and all that. So shout out to Robert Duvall, man. That's sad. I mean, 95, right? It's a hell of a run. But we're starting to lose some real good actors the last year. I mean, not starting, it's happening all the time, but some real icons with Duvall and Redford and Gene Hackman, man, like absolute greats, titans of the game. So RIP to Robert Duvall. It's a sad kind of turn of the page for the Patriots fans because now we got to look at the offseason after losing in the Super Bowl. The Patriots have a lot that they need to go out and fix, quote unquote, in free agency. And I wouldn't put some of the skill positions near the top of the list. Certainly receiver you need to look at, but there's a real interesting name that is popping up for the New England Patriots in free agency. Fox Sports had as the number 1 free agent target for the AFC champs, Kyle Pitts from Atlanta. Now, technically, he's not really a free agent because they can tag him. And that deadline, I believe, is tomorrow to tag your free agent franchise tags and pay him $16 million for 1 year. The Falcons, the Hawks are always in a rebuild. The Falcons are in a rebuild here. They've got a new coach. They're trying to develop their young quarterback, whom, by the way, in 2024, when he played, they didn't have Kyle Pitts on the field almost at all when Michael Penix was playing. That's a lot of money to tie up into a tight end when you are rebuilding. From the Patriots side of things, this would be fascinating. I know there are fantasy owners out there right now who are yelling, why would the Patriots want Kyle Pitts? The dude's a bum. And if you watch Kyle Pitts' career up through 2024, I can see why you'd think that. But he is coming off his best season, comfortably his best season in the NFL. Most targets, most catches. How about 88 catches and 928 yards as a tight end, albeit a very athletic tight end, but second team All-Pro at that position. He was a monster this year, a monster, and is one of the big reasons why, the Falcons tied for the NFC South. Is that right? I think they tied for the division title or lost on a tiebreaker. We're like 7-9 or whatever. I guess it's 7-10 now, 8-9, whatever. And the team they tied with went to the playoffs, the Panthers. But Kyle Pitts was a monster this year, a monster. 88 catches, 928 yards, 5 touchdowns, and a second team All-Pro. That would be a massive signing for the Patriots. And the great part about all of it, it's not going to cost them $16 million. And I'd go as far as saying it's not really going to cost them close to that. Sport Track right now has him had a 4-year, $43 million deal. And I don't know that it's going to go above $12 million annually if you're talking about a 4-year deal. That would put him at 4 for 48, obviously. So even Sport Track is saying, nah, it's not even going to be 11, as a matter of fact. It's going to be about 10-7 to get him in here every year. And here's the thing about Kyle Pitts. I know fantasy team owners hate him, but like the dude is only 25 years old. He's not going to turn 26 until October. So you sign a 4-year deal, you're getting him basically through age 29. He has not even entered his prime yet. You know, he's drafted as a 20-year-old and the highest tight end had ever been drafted in NFL history. Man, the pressure was on him from day one. And he played for the Falcons, guys. Like, he was catching passes. The only year he played with Matt Ryan was his rookie year, and that was way better than any of the 3 that came after it before this one. When he was playing with, Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix and just name your Jags. That's who he was catching passes from. This year, where they're trying to develop Penix a little bit more, and his kid's 25, Pitts, he's younger than Penix. He's 25 and he's in a free agent year. He was awesome. Like, let's be honest. If we're looking at 2024 draft eligible quarterbacks, right? Who is going to be better for Kyle Pitts over the next 4 years? Michael Penix or MVP runner-up AFC champion Drake Maye? Like, let's think about that objectively here, even though we're on the Wicked Boston show. Okay, that would be way better for Kyle Pitts' career, and Kyle Pitts would be great for Drake Maye's career. The Patriots have an interesting kind of conundrum at tight end. Austin Hooper is a UFA. No real reason to re-sign Austin Hooper. Thank you for your service, my brother. We'll see you in Valhalla. Right? No real reason for that. Hunter Henry is the interesting one. He's been a dependable guy each of the last 4 or 5 years for the Patriots. Like, he signed in that 21 class. And Drake Maye loves him. He's like one of his best friends on the team. At times, he's been a safety blanket, but he's on the wrong side of 30. He's not a great blocker. He's not the fleetest of foot. And he's owed $11.75 million next year. You save $9 million if you just cut him. So, I like Hunter Henry. Again, thank you for your service. Your watch is over. I'll see you in Valhalla. You don't need Hunter Henry on this team next year if you're trying to run it back and make a Super Bowl. What you need is an upgrade. Kyle Pitts is an upgrade. I know the other elephant in the room is he's not a good blocker. And to be quite frank, you didn't have either tight end be a good blocker in 2025. Mac Hollins was your run blocker. And so you would need to go out and get a cheap option for a guy who can block the way you did with Dwayne Allen. Of course, he was a pass catcher before the Patriots got him. But I think in terms of the value, the money that you're going to spend, the age this guy is, and the versatility he can bring you, I don't know if there's anyone better on the market for the Patriots offensively than Kyle Pitts. I really don't. And I think you tap into what makes the Josh McDaniels offense great. When it was at its very best, it had Rob Gronkowski, Aaron Hernandez. And I know that Kyle Pitts is not going to be Rob Gronkowski, not nearly the blocker, right? Not even close. But he opens up a lot, man. He can play at tight end. He can play in the slot. He is a great yak guy, especially for tight end. 400 yards after the catch last year. Like, Josh McDaniels loves these kinds of guys. It's what makes his offense go. And again, I keep saying he's not a great blocker. He did have his highest run block rate of his career last year, knowing possibly that a contract was coming his way. Like, this makes so much sense. So much sense. And, I see the argument here, saying he's been overrated. He was. But I'm saying, look at the film this year. Check the stats from 2025. We saw the Falcons because we played them, but nobody really watched the Falcons. This dude was back to legit, this is why you draft a tight end in the top 10 kind of play this year in 2025. And the other uncomfortable thing I got to bring up with all of this is, I know they're not the same position, but when you're talking about weapons here, I don't know what this looks like for Stefon Diggs next year. I don't know with any certainty that Stefon Diggs is a New England Patriot in 2026. He was obviously productive as hell, right? Had a 1,000-yard season, had some big games for them when it really mattered I should say had some big regular season games for them, right? Postseasons mattered, and he wasn't great in the postseason. He was fine, but he wasn't great. He's going to be on trial here for felony strangulation. He pled not guilty, right? That's the second time he's been in the news off the field since he's gotten to the team, which was less than a year ago. And that's not even including the Cardi B drama, right? And the Patriots, have an opt-out this year. There's no guarantee at all that Stefon Diggs is on your team next year. And we said it during the postseason, that bottom 4 or 5 in the league receiver group from 2024 really was probably the worst group in the league. Only added Stefon Diggs to it last year. So again, Drake Maye is making lemonade without any lemons here. All right? And by adding Kyle Pitts and subtracting Stefon Diggs, you might not make it any better, but Kyle Pitts is a hell of a target for Drake Maye, a guy who is much younger than Diggs, doesn't have the debilitating injury that Diggs had. And while he's had some here or there talking about usage and stuff, he's not really an off the field problem the way that Stefon Diggs, quite frankly, is an off the field problem right now. And it sounds like he was great for the guys in the locker room and all that, but off the field, he is providing distractions for the Patriots with what was it? The pink meth, the pink crack, whatever it was last year. I think it was pink Coke that he had on the boat Memorial Day weekend. And now with going to court, man, being charged of strangling your personal chef. Innocent till proven guilty, but these are distractions. And it's not happening with every player. It's not happening with Kyle Pitts. So all of those things put together make me think, yeah, maybe Fox Sports is right. Kyle Pitts should be at the top of the Patriots wish list. They're going to need to figure some things out at tackle. And I don't know how aggressively you can do that in free agency. You went out, you got one last year, Morgan Moses, and you're already talking about, you probably need some help there. You got Vidarian Lowe, your backup left tackle, as a free agent. You might have to owe him some money. The way you're seeing around some other teams around the league. You're going to need to get a tight end anyway in the draft. Maybe that's where you get your blocking guy, and Kyle Pitts is your receiving option. Or maybe you're trying to really cut on that position and you go out and you get the receiving guy in the draft, someone like Michael Trigg from my alma mater at Baylor. Heck of a guy. Heck of a football player. I don't know about him, the guy. Heck of a receiving talent at tight end, though. So I think Kyle Pitts should be at the top of the wish list for Mike Vrabel and the New England Patriots. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. What are the positions that the Patriots need to hit on? What are some of the players that you want them to go out and get in free agency or even the draft? Because that's something we're going to be talking about in the next couple of weeks as well. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a ton. And man, this channel is growing the last couple of months. So I appreciate you guys. You can find us every day on YouTube, live 3 days a week, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. It is your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio. It's right here on the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stewart on 365 Sports. When we come back, we're going to put a bow on this thing, but I'll tell you, I was locked in to Olympic hockey all weekend long, man. And the U.S. looks like the team to beat here, but we're going beyond that. Because if they actually do pull this thing off and win the first gold since 1980, we're going to talk about what that means for the sport in this country and why the NBA should probably be rooting for Canada. That's next on the Wicked Boston Show.
Blackmore Bar and Kitchen, located in Charlestown, is the perfect spot for a bite and drink before a Bruins or Celtics game at TD Garden. Blackmore Bar and Kitchen offers 34 rotating beers, craft cocktails, and an eclectic menu of tavern favorites like burgers, sandwiches, and flatbreads. Join us for brunch every Saturday and Sunday, plus pre- and post-game garden events. Blackmore Bar and Kitchen. Check us out at blackmorebar.com.
Circulon C1 Series Clad with Scratch Defense Non-Stick. Maximize cooking, minimize cleaning. Discover the unmatched durability and elegance scratch-free, worry-free, forever.
At Coversonal, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable...
Hey, back here on the Wicked Boston Show on 365 Sports. That's all right, Zach. We could run with it. Something glitched back there. I don't think it's Zach's fault, but we can run with it. I'm good. Here, we got a couple of minutes left, and we got the people hanging on. So, you know what? Why not? I do want to talk about, before we get into Olympic hockey, real quick. You saw the commercial twice today for Blackmore Bar in Charlestown. Lovely place, man. I love it there. It's a good part of a great town in Charlestown. And I do want to make an announcement here, because we're efforting this. We're kind of crossing the T's, dotting the I's on it, but we are going to be at the Blackmore Bar in Charlestown next Thursday. That is February the 26th. It's going to be the first Bruins game back after the Olympic break. They're playing Columbus that night. Actually, very interesting matchup. I won't get into that too much right now. But Columbus is a surging team. The Bruins are holding on to a playoff spot in the very crowded Eastern Conference. So do want to see you guys out there. For those of you new to the show or been following along, we're going to get a setup out there. We're working on speakers and getting it out to the crowd. But if you're going to the Bruins game, stop by. I've done it several times now. It's an awesome spot to stop before a game. You can just walk over the Garden. It's fantastic. So would love to see you guys there. I'm going to be talking about it the next couple of shows, obviously, but it's going to be a special time, 5:00 on that Thursday, to get you right in to the Bruins game. So definitely would love to see some of you wicked Boston fans there on that's Thursday the 26th, before Bruins and Blue Jackets. So hope to see you guys there. Shout out to Stephanie for getting that thing going and getting us out there. I can't wait. I really can't wait. I do want to keep talking about hockey, though, because we're talking about post Winter Olympics. I want to talk present Winter Olympics. Guys, I was locked in all weekend to USA Hockey at the Olympics. Man, it was the perfect setup, right? Thursday afternoon, and then back-to-back days, Saturday and Sunday afternoon. The U.S. goes a perfect 3-0. They got a 5-1, a 6-3, and another 5-1. They just kicked the crap out of Germany on Sunday. That's for bombing Pearl Harbor, is what I got to say to that. Did we give up after the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Hell no. And they didn't give up on Sunday, even though they didn't play all that well in the first period. They got the bye. They'll play on Wednesday in the playoff round. That'll be the quarterfinals. And they're waiting to see if they will face Sweden or Latvia. And I don't know how I feel about either of those teams, right? Latvia plays with the dark arts, man. Like they can F up somebody's year, somebody's 4 years, man. Like they play gritty as hell. They're lucky. And I don't mean that as a disparagement. They are It's one of the best traits you can have as a team when it comes to these, what's now a single elimination tournament. They're lucky. They get lucky. Lucky things happen to them. And on the other side of that playing game is Sweden, who, Latvia, they've got the luck on their side. They can be prickly pears, but Sweden's legit. And I worry about Sweden. This is not the strongest team they've ever had. They've had some bad luck with some injuries and just guys having bad years or bad 2 years, I would say, with Elias Pettersson and Elias Lindholm. I don't think Hampus Lindholm, our guy, is 100% because he hasn't been playing. Olmark's not having a good year. They've got some trouble in goal. So they're still a better team than Latvia. And I think that's who the U.S. is going to face on Wednesday. But man, I am so locked and loaded with Olympic hockey. And we saw it with the Four Nations last year. We're going to see it this week with the U.S. ramping up in these elimination games Wednesday and then potentially Friday if they're playing. And then, God willing, gold medal game is Sunday morning. So I think you're going to see the nation really start to rally around this team over the next couple of days if they haven't already. Because it's ramping up. It absolutely looks like it's going to be the USA versus Canada in the gold medal. That's what everyone outside of, Finland and Sweden is looking forward to. All the other hockey fans want to see this rivalry reborn on Sunday morning for the biggest prize in international hockey, Olympic gold. But I'll tell you what, there's one big entity in this country that is not rooting for the USA hockey team. And that is the NBA. They don't want USA Canada next Sunday, even if it's at 8:00 in the morning Eastern time, which is ridiculous, by the way. But the NBA is terrified of this. They saw all the momentum that the Four Nations got last year and these record-breaking U.S. TV audiences to watch them versus Canada and get all that buildup, right? The 51st state and Freebird and the Kachucks and Connor McDavid. It's all still there. It's all still there. And the NBA, in a way, got lucky last year. And I talked about this actually at length on the show because there was all kinds of momentum after the Four Nations, but the big U.S. markets were not competing in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Boston, Philadelphia, Chicago, Detroit, Pittsburgh, the big hockey markets. L.A. was there for a week, but that was it. You didn't have what you had in 2010, where after the Olympics, you had Philadelphia versus Chicago in the Stanley Cup final. And you had on top of that, Boston had a good team. They won the cup the next year. The Rangers in New York had a good team. Pittsburgh was always in the mix. DC's in the mix with Ovechkin and Crosby in Pittsburgh. You had this kind of wave of the next generation of American hockey fans. And right now, it's like the old SI cover. Hockey's hot and the NBA is not. It's not. The ratings are still going down. People are still complaining about the product. They're still complaining about load management. It doesn't matter at all until you get to the playoffs. This is where hockey can pounce. And the NBA really doesn't want to see it. You really don't want to see it. And when I talk about this U.S. team, it almost feels like a movie developing. And maybe that's because I grew up, watching Miracle all the time. But I'll tell you what, whether you think the Olympics is a big deal or not, these players, I think, really understand the assignment. These USA players know exactly what is at stake when it comes to these best-on-best tournaments where the U.S. is as good as they have ever been. You heard it with the guys last year, right? Charlie McAvoy, who was out for the gold medal game, and he was reading off the lineups to his team in the locker room, and he's in tears because he can't play in this game. Matthew Tkachuk, who had just won a Stanley Cup, was about to win another one, had played in a Stanley Cup final Game 7, said, "This is the biggest game of my life." Jack Eichel, who had won a Stanley Cup, said, this is the biggest game I've ever played in. They understand what it means to this country if they win the gold medal. You're already getting the sport spread out to different new markets that aren't going to demand a TV audience like the ones I just talked about a minute or two ago. It's not Boston, it's not Chicago, it's not Philadelphia, but you are spreading it to Miami, Tampa, Dallas, Los Angeles. And they're all rallying around this team. And they certainly will be in the next couple of days. Like, this thing is for real. And I think when you have a team, a group of players who understand that, who understand how big this is, not just for them, not just for this moment, but for the guys that came before them and the guys that, more importantly, will come after them. When you have a group of guys that understand the importance of what they're doing, that's when you get something really, really special. So not only is this the most talented team the U.S. has ever fielded, iced. Not only is this the most talented team the U.S. has ever had, but it's a team that very much understands what they are up against and what they can accomplish here with a victory. And they also understand that Canada's no slouch. That Canada is still that good. If you want to knock them off the mantle, that's how you're going to do it. So anyway, let me know how locked in you are in the comment section below, and be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel because we come at you every day, every weekday on YouTube, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. It's your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio right here on the Wicked Boston Show. You know, I'm not surprised to see this comment from someone called Hooper fans. I'm stunned that Hooper fans is not big into the NHL. NBA All-Star Weekend has higher ratings than NHL all week. Keep trying, bud. Yeah, let's stack up last year. Let's stack up the four nations against the NBA All-Star game. And let's see what one their fans are bitching about every single year. Because they're not bitching about best on best hockey. Okay, they're bitching about the exhibition that they play at the NBA All-Star game, which, by the way, it wasn't my favorite thing last night, but I thought it was a better kind of format that they're running out now with the international thing. And I think if Luka Doncic and Nikola Jokic played in it, it would have been even better. And yes, the NBA Finals did have higher ratings in the United States. They had two teams from the United States, Hooper fans. You had a team in Florida and a team in Edmonton in the Stanley Cup final. So congratulations. Yes, you had more with the two teams that were in it last year. It was Oklahoma City and Indiana. You nailed it. You got it. You beat us on that one. What I'm saying is the NBA, not that it's like hurting, like going to go under or anything like that, but the ratings are down back-to-back years, and prominent voices in your league, like Charles Barkley, are talking about how bad the product is. And they're literally like, the NHL is not talking about abolishing the draft because there's too many teams that are purposely trying to lose. That's the NBA. So to just sit here and hide that the NBA doesn't have any problems, I think that's a farce. And yes, I am much more of a hockey guy than a basketball guy, but I do like basketball. I like the NBA. I really love the Celtics. And so I'll be watching as long as they're in it. But anyway, guys, it's going to wrap it up for today. We got some big guests lined up for Wednesday and Friday of this week. So be on the lookout on the YouTube channel and wherever you get your podcasts. I appreciate everyone following along, getting in the comments section. Even if you disagree, man, I love that. I love Hooper fans coming back. But we will see you guys on Wednesday on the next edition, the next live edition of the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stewart. We'll see you then.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels. Visit OpenGOAAALUSA.com and elevate your training today.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farm, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.